1, 2, 3, testing 1, 2, 3. Yeah, now you can hear me. Hey, what about now? Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? I see the sound coming loud and clear. Someone tell me that the sound is here. Still no sound. Come on, there's got to be sound. I see the thing going. Sound now. Okay, great. All right. Hey, better late than never. What can I tell you, huh? Well, one more thing to prepare before I go on the air is to make sure the sound microphone is plugged into the computer. Don't you think that would be a good idea? Well, congratulations. We made it through the first 2 weeks of 2018. We had Martin Luther King Day here in America on Monday. A lot of really good things happening. Some of you weren't even alive when he was alive or when he was assassinated 50 years ago. But let me tell you, he was an amazing spiritual figure. Okay, sound is good. Thank you, Cade. All right, so got a bunch of you watching. Shoot, go for your questions. I have a special offer today. Anybody who becomes a member of my Patreon channel will become I'll get a free ebook and a 15-minute free coaching session. All I have to do is go to this link, www.patreon.com/Douglas Block. It's a way to support this channel for as little as $2 a month. There you have it. Let me hit return. I think it must be there. Anyway, yeah. So Patreon.com is where you go to find me and find how you can sustain this channel. Anyway, I have some good jokes here. I've got a lot of good inspiration coming your way, and the sound is now low. Testing 1, 2. Yeah, it's a little bit low. Okay, let me raise it just a tad. Thank you for bringing that up. How's that now? A little bit better? Yeah. It's okay. It was okay, but now low. What about now? It's got to be better now. I've just adjusted it. So, anybody have any questions? Nice to see all you guys here again. The crowd that loves to be here. Hey, His Grace is Love 11. Good sound. Okay, great. I just posted a video. I don't know if you guys saw it. Called The Effect of Physical Illness on the Depressed Mind. So many people have been sick in Portland, Oregon. There's actually in the United States of America, there's a big flu going around. 20 people have died. And so I just had a gal who came to my depression group last night who had a nerve pinched, in her back. She finally got back surgery. But as soon as the surgery was over, even though she felt better, she crashed because she lost 3 weeks of her life, couldn't go to her computer class, was just, a mess emotionally, even though she had been really, really doing well coming out of a bad depression, was just kind of on the threshold of feeling really good when this spinal problem hit her, and it just completely set her back to almost the beginning. So what about you guys? Have you had physical illness mess up your mood? Great last video. Yes, it's all about money, billions of dollars they make off of what? I'm not quite sure what. Depressive episodes get worse with age. Well, that's an interesting question, says from Mavi. It turns out that the more depressions you have, the more likely you are to have one. So after one depression, you're 50% more likely to have a second. After a second depression, you're 70% more likely to have a third, etc. So, but do they get worse? Well, I had a depression when I was 65 years old. It was bad, but it wasn't as bad as the one when I was 48. So I don't think they get worse. I think the more tools you have, the better you are to manage your depression and essentially nip it in the bud. Do people realize that Leonard Cohen was depressed for his life? He was in the mid-60s when it lifted. Wow, yes, I do, NF, because I listened to his music in the 60s. I don't know how old you are. I'm 68, so yes. He actually did it through meditation, believe it or not. Hey, Pearly Bonda, nice to hear from you. Have you connected with Daniel Kate this week? So I don't really think depressive episodes necessarily get worse with age. Not at all. No problem. Just start watching videos like this. They're helpful. What can a person get help for depression with having to spend hundreds of dollars on therapy sessions? Well, one thing you can do, Smitha Carr, is you can go to support groups like the one I run. The Depression Bipolar Support Alliance and National Alliance of Mental Illness have support groups. There's also low-cost counseling in most cities in America, and we have free counseling here in Portland. Where do you live, my friend? What part of the country do you live in, or what country do you live in? Because there's ways to get therapy without having spent hundreds of dollars. I'll tell you that. Leon, in my experience, you're 100% right. Yes, well, Daniel K., do you think Dolores O'Riordan committed suicide? Pearl and I have no idea who she is. Leon M., do your research, people. Ask doctor where the blood evidence of chemical balance in the brain is. Please, so it's just as good. Well, Leon, we've had this discussion before on the comment section. I don't think that, look, in terms of depression, you might be right. In terms of bipolar disorder or schizophrenia, there is a balance. If you've ever lived, have you ever lived with a schizophrenic person, Leanne? Have you ever been around them? Have you ever met schizophrenic kids who have parents? You would not say that chemical imbalance is a myth if you actually saw what it was like to see someone delusional and have be paranoid and think that microphones are in the wall and all sorts of really crazy things. That is not no. That's a biological issue. Now, in depression, I would agree with you that in most cases depression can be treated with lifestyle habits. Although in my case, I needed to get electroconvulsive therapy. So, yeah, I think antidepressants are overprescribed. I agree with you there, Leanne. She's a lead vocalist called the Cranberries. Oh yeah. I just heard about that. She died without saying why. I didn't know. I didn't read about what the cause was. So I can't really tell if she committed suicide. Daniel says it might be good for you, Perla, to move. I'm not quite sure what that means, but anyway. Patreon.com is where you can go to support this channel. Most of the therapists are asking that we spend lots of money about that. Lower cost ones have 2-3 wait for assignments. Where do you live, Smitha? Where do you live? Oh, you found a good new house. That's good. A joke. This I told last time, but some of you haven't heard it. A squirrel walks into a psychiatrist's office, lies on the couch. The psychiatrist says, "Mr. Squirrel, why are you here?" The squirrel says, "Have you ever heard of this saying, you are what you eat?" The psychiatrist says, "Yes, I have." And the squirrel says, "Well, if you are what you eat, I think I'm nuts." Not bad, huh? Pearl is moving. Good for her. Any other questions, you guys, about depression getting worse with age? Yes, it doesn't necessarily have to. Like someone said, it lifted for Leonard Cohen when he was in his 60s. Again, the effect of physical illness on depression definitely makes matters worse. So, who here remembers Martin Luther King Jr.? An amazingly spiritual giant, started the movement in America that led to all the other movements, the women's movement, the gay liberation movement, the men's movement, the environmental movement. The civil rights movement was the first major social movement in America after World War II. And it was, if you were around during the time, it was amazing the courage that those people had. So, you live in Atlanta. Well, Atlanta is a big city, Smith, and there's got to be resources there. Call 211. Call 211, Smith. They will give you all sorts of resources, mental health resources in Atlanta, including low cost or free counselors. I promise you. Purpose. Martin Luther King had a purpose. We all have to have a purpose. If you don't have a reason to get up out of bed in the day and do something, you're not going to really get free of your depression. So, I'd like to hear from the listeners. What is your purpose, in getting out of bed? What do you guys see as, a good reason for keeping on when you feel badly? Wow. Javi, maybe you should mention one of your motivations, Halsey Minor, an entrepreneur who fell into a deep depression, almost lost $1 billion of fortune, and he got better. That's cool. Let me see if I can make this smaller. There we are. Much better. Can see you guys better. Yeah, Halsey Minor. Haven't heard of him. I grew up learning about him, says Daniel Cat. I got in trouble in a Christian school for getting Martin Luther and Martin Luther King mixed up. Sorry about that. You shouldn't have gotten in trouble. I'll get at one of his periods. Jeff, hey Jeff, hi Douglas, I'm feeling much better, started working out again, excellent. As I say, antidepressants are the best, exercise, excuse me, is the best antidepressant out there. So yes, working out is one of the best things you can do for yourself. Jeff, I'm glad you feel better enough to do that. His Grace is Love 11, I'm drinking a very powerful green smoothie every morning, just as good as an antidepressant. Aha, have you seen my video on the brain healthy green smoothie, His Grace is Love? Check it out on my list of videos on the channel. Perla, have you moved to your new house yet? Wow, where is it, and why do you feel better in it? So, are we ready for another joke? Hey, Bashar Zako from the Middle East, nice to hear from you. Or maybe you're not from the Middle East now, but you at least grew up there, I'm assuming. I'll tell you, Joan. Oops. Thank you, Cade. Hey, Said Bumadik. Yes, that's a Cade. That's a little joke between the two of us. Thank you. Cade, by the way, is very generous. And Cade, if you want to join our Patreon community, please do. You know, $2 per month is all it takes, and you just gave me $2. So that would be cool if you did that. So this is a Joel Osteen joke. And it goes something like this. An elderly woman is in a parking lot outside of a store. She locks her keys in her car. Someone gives her a coat hanger. She's fiddling with the key, trying to break in, can't do it. So she says, God, Lord, please help me get this car door open. At that moment, a man on a motorcycle pulls up, a leather jacket, rough hewn. He's got a skull cap. He's, let me help you, ma'am. And within 15 seconds, he's got the car door open. The old woman says, oh, thank you, Lord, for sending me this nice man who helped me open my car. The guy says, ain't nice, ma'am. I just got out of prison for car theft. And she says, well, thank you again, Lord, because you even sent me a professional. There you have it. Whoops, sorry, one of the lights went off. The screen darkened. So I hope that's okay. I'm going to just bring another light a little closer in. I have no idea why that light went off. But I'm going to bring a little light closer. So I'll be right there, guys. Okay, this should be a little better anyway. Vera Paquette, hey, nice to see you again. Vera Paquette, hey, saw my doctor 3 days ago. She wants me back to work in 3 weeks, not taking medication. I'm afraid with my anxiety. Well, you'll have to try some ways to help with your anxiety in a way that's not medication-oriented. Deep breathing, exercise, affirmations, saying you're calm and all is well. So yeah, that's what I would suggest. I'm glad you like that joke, Jeff. Very cool. So did that help, Vera, in terms of helping your anxiety without medication? If you email me at douglasblog@gmail.com, if you send me an email here, I'll send you a little sheet on how to modify your anxiety using cold water. You put your head hold your breath, put your head in a sink of cold water, hold it as long as you can, and that initiates the dive response, which essentially allows you to slow down your whole sympathetic nervous system, and it calms you down, believe it or not. Cold water, putting your face in cold water, holding your breath, try it. Anyway, send me an email and I will send that to you. April Wagner, you made it. Mother came home to get the rest of her things. Well, hey, Twisted Sister. I just love your name, Heather. How do you give a live chat on the iPhone? That's a good question. I know Noah does it. I think you just go to videos and you click on live stream. I think it's actually quite simple. Twisted Sister, what part of the country do you live in? I'm curious. I'd like to know. I'm trying to figure out how to go ahead and type something in here, but I can't figure out quite how to do it. Let me see if I can try it again. Nope. Just can't seem to type anything in this thing, so. Oh well, does anybody see a message I have here about the Patreon community? Can anybody see that on the screen? I can't understand why it's not coming up, but oh well, nothing I can do about it. Thank you, Paraphuket. Thank you for saying thank you. I don't know what you said thank you about, but anyway, about dealing with anxiety, yes. Well, go ahead and email me, Vero, douglasblock@gmail.com, and I will go ahead and send you a sheet on how to use cold water to decrease your anxiety. That would be really great. Birmingham, UK. Well, what are the mental health resources like in Birmingham, UK? Twisted Sister, I'd be interested to know. How's the therapy? Do you have to have wait lists? All right. A joke. What joke can I get here? My little joke book. Why couldn't the lifeguard rescue the hippie out in the ocean who was drowning? He was too far out, man. That's for you guys who are around in the 60s. Paul Shaniger, I haven't heard from you. What do you do when you don't even want to get better? Whoa, that is a good question. My first key to depression recovery is called setting the intention to heal. So a person has to decide they want to get better. The key to becoming clean and sober, if you're an alcoholic or a drug addict, is the desire to stop drinking. So if you don't want to get well, it's really hard to get well. So tell me why you don't want to get well, Paul. That was funny. I don't know what you thought was funny, but I think you're missing questions. Is your screen resolution cranked too high? I assume. Yeah, the problem with Arcade Cup is that I have, and I don't know how to change it right now, is that I need to slow down the rate at which questions are coming. And you can do that by changing the settings, but I don't want to do it right in the middle because, yeah, I need to, someone had said, I'll try it now, see what happens. I may leave you for a second, but we'll see what goes on here. I guess you can see me. Let me see if I can do something with the settings here. If I can, I apologize. Yeah, I'm just going to have to wait. I'm sorry for the questions coming too fast and furious. I don't really know what to do to change it so they're not coming quite as fast. But yeah, so I apologize about that. I can't really change the settings right now, so nothing I can do. So anyway, I'll adjust that next time. And I kind of lost you guys for a second. Let me see what's going on. Let me come here. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what's going on. I can't seem to find your questions. Give me 1 second, okay? Have patience. There you go. Okay, you guys are back. I apologize. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why I can't see your questions right now. I should have... Okay, now I think I finally got you guys back. Thank you for sending me an email. I appreciate that. Paul, life can be a challenge when we know what you're experiencing, says Cade. Well, that's very nice of you to say that, Cade. Excellent. So again, next time I go ahead, I will find a way to slow down the rate at which these questions are coming. Twisted Elsa, it's badly underfunded. I've been waiting 15 months for counseling. That's way too long. Dave says, when you feel depression coming on because of bad thought, is anything you do? Yes, challenge that thought for sure. Challenge that thought for sure, and that will be the way you can get out of that. Just tell that thought, you're not true, and go ahead and challenge that, and put something else much more positive in its place. Okay. Thank you. Thanks, guys, says Paul Shanger. It's been very difficult. Thanks for the quality videos. Yes, well, Paul, you just make the decision. Think of something worth living. Like, why would you want to get better? What if you could get better, Paul? What are the good things you might experience in your life? Huh? Yeah, keep your head up, Paul. Look at all the support you're getting from the people here. April says, I have terrible sore throat. I'm slowly working through it. It's not easy. Yep, it's a growth process. Well, I hope you and your new therapist, Cheyenne, are working on that positive. I had a great quotation from Alan Cohen that came to me. I wish I could show it to you, but he said, unworthiness is a case of mistaken identity. I'll repeat that again. Unworthiness is a case of mistaken identity. What do you think of that? We are really precious and good. Have you ever heard of original sin? Have anybody heard of original sin? Well, there's actually a very famous book by Matthew Fox called Original Blessings. Think of yourself as basically good, not basically a piece of crap like a lot of you were taught when growing up. It's very important. So, Paul, you're getting support. That's wonderful. But I want you guys to think about the fact that you are, even if you don't believe in God, you're a precious child of the universe. How about putting it that way? But you are good at heart. You're essentially good. You have essential goodness. And therefore, anybody who's told you as a child that you're worthless, any verbal abuse you've had, you rebut that, and let that go, because it's not true. Did I ever tell you guys about the $20 bill story? I wish I had a $20 bill to basically illustrate this, but you can just visualize it. So a guy at motivational talk holds up a $20 bill like this and says, who wants this $20 bill? Everybody raises their hands. Now he says, now who wants it? He crumples it up in his hand, shows it again. Now who wants a $20 bill? People still raise their hands. Then he finally drops it on the floor and he stamps on it and he, rolls it around the dirt. Now it's crumpled up, it's dirty. He again shows the $20 bill. He says, who wants it? Still people raise their hands. He said, now you've learned a very important lesson. No matter what I did to that $20 bill, whether I crumpled it or stamped on it, it still was worth $20. Now, sometimes life will stamp on you, knock you down, crumple you, but that does not change your basic worth. Think of yourself as like that $20 bill. You are worth it. So that's what I want you guys to think about. I want you to think that you are a $20 bill, and then nothing can change your essential goodness and worth. I don't care what you've been through. I don't care how many hospitals you've been in. I've been in, how many hospitals I've been in? One, two, three, four, five. 5 hospitals. And I still think I'm a pretty good person. Hey, Dave Pickell from Vancouver, British Columbia, one of my favorite guys. What do you think of that story? Yeah, Dave, you're cool. Dave and I, he's going to come down to Portland and come to one of my depression support groups. Hey, hello, I'm Greg. Good words of wisdom, says Jess. Okay, so any other feedback about the $20 bill story? That no matter what happens to that $20 bill, you're still worth $20? Nobody can take that away from you. What else do we have to say here? Let me see if I can go ahead and still type something in. I don't know why it's not. Oh, maybe it is. Oh, I finally got a chance to type in my Patreon. I know that Dave Pickell is a member. Hello, I'm Greg is a member. A lot of you have gone ahead and become a sustaining member of this channel, and those of you who don't, for as little as $2 a month, you can just click on that link. And as I said, anybody who does so today gets a free 15-minute consultation from me and a free ebook of your choice. Dave Pickle says, I liked it, Doug. I can't get out of bed today. Why not? Dave. Go ahead and just force yourself. Go take a walk around the block. Love on Greg took a smile. And S, yes, teachings of original sin and damnation ruined my childhood. Very good. Were you raised in the Catholic environment? You are originally good, and the F. You've got to replace that early programming. You know, the Jesuit priest said, give us a child before he is 7, he is ours for life. What does that mean, guys? It means that the early program you have before the age of 7 sticks in your subconscious. April Wagner, that's why you're having a hard time feeling worthy, because you got a lot of negative programming before you were the age of 7, and it takes the rest of your life of psychotherapy and self-help and affirmations and being around good people to change that. Believe me, don't get on your case, any of you guys, if it seems hard for you to change. Those early imprints are so hard to deal with. Can I get an amen here? Can someone essentially say, yes, that's right, that early programming is really hard to change? Was you please, like Pissack. Hey Doug, I've made loads of hypochondria thoughts, dark thoughts, very disturbing. This is something that happens in depression. I almost feel slightly OCD. Well, you do have obsessive thoughts. You may want to try a medication called Luvox, L-U-V-O-X, but yes, you should do some meditation, do some cognitive behavioral therapy, do some deep breathing, and above all, do some exercise. Amen. Thank you, Jeff. You're a gentleman and a scholar. Daniel Pate says to Greg, can you add Perla to the group of people who are joining your group of self-help, connection, support group outside of these chats? We are in the image of God. Very well. Well, that's what it said in the Bible, speaking of, original sin. You know who came up with original sin, by the way? St. Augustine, who didn't think too highly of himself. So yes, don't ever let anybody tell you you're not good at heart. Look at all the ways that human beings cooperate. Look at the way that mothers take care of their children, for the most part, unless they're addicted. There's more goodness in this world than there is negativity. There is more good than evil. Even though when you look at the newspapers or listen to the headlines, you think, the world is falling apart. Believe me, there's lots of good happening that you don't know about because it's not reported. Perla says, Greg says, hello, I'm Greg.com. Please email me. I think I might have Perla's email address, Greg. I may be able to email that to you. Please keep your questions coming. I endured what I thought was normal childhood to learn 40 years later I have chronic shame, makes me sick. I'm so grateful for you, your group, and all the self-help books. Yes. Have you read Healing the Shame That Binds You by John Bradshaw, the classic book on overcoming shame? Absolutely. By the way, I got an alert on my watch. I suppose I should put it to silent. There we go. What is the best thing to do to cure depression without drugs? Exercise, exercise, and exercise. Have you ever heard the real estate people say, what's the most important thing about choosing a house? Location, location, location. Well, the best way to cure exercise or to manage it, you can't cure depression, excuse me. You can only manage it. You can't cure it. It's exercise, exercise, and exercise. So Bashar, do you run? Do you bicycle? Do you swim? Do you dance? What do you do to get moving? You're getting Healing the Shame That Binds You? Yes. April, what type of exercise do you do? Do you think Buddhism philosophy helps with depression? I absolutely do. There are a lot of, are you kidding me? Mindfulness-based cognitive therapy, Dave, is based on Buddhist teachings. And, Buddhism believes that we are essentially good, that they call it the clear mind or the clear white light or something. They basically said that human beings, the only reason we get in trouble is because of false attitudes and obscurations. So yes, Buddhism teaches essential goodness. They teach compassion. They teach loving kindness. You know what Dalai Lama said? My religion is kindness. You can't beat that. 1, 2, 3, 4. The 4 words that you only need to know about spirituality. My religion is kindness. Aldous Huxley, the man who wrote Brave New World, did a lot of experimentation with psychedelic drugs to try to find God. And when he died, the last thing he said was, I wish I had been more kind this lifetime. So walking and hiking, April, that's pretty darn good. So Dave, did I answer your question about Buddhism? What if I can't exercise? I don't have energy to do anything. It seems pointless. Well, what about just taking some weights and going like this, What about just walking around the house? Surely you can walk around the block. I had a guy, hey, Scott Bauer, nice to hear from you. Daniel, try to deposit the $20 in an ATM. Laugh out loud. Not quite sure what you're talking about, but Yeah, love will heal depression for sure. I've got a video called Love Can Heal Your Brain. You should check it out. So Bashar, can you walk around the block? I had a guy who was sitting in his apartment for 3 months, didn't even get off his couch. He walked a half a block, then a block, then a week later it was 2 blocks, then it's 10 blocks, and a half a mile, then a mile. Now he's hiking up Angel's Rest. So baby steps, to quote that the film What About Bob? I don't know if any of you have seen it. It's a hysterical film. Hey, it's 30 past the hour. Time for another advertisement. Healing from Depression, 12 weeks to a better mood. Has my Body, Mind, and Spirit Recovery Program. Everything I know about depression is in this book. And again, anybody who becomes a Patreon subscriber will get, When Going Through Hell Don't Stop, free ebook of my memoir of overcoming depression. And anybody who wants to support this channel just can click on the live chat, the little dollar sign in the lower left-hand corner of the chat box, and that would be appreciated. Paul, today I don't know. I think meditation is healing. Yes, it is, Dave Piquel. Did you say you had a hard time getting out of your bed? That really makes me sad. So yes, Greg, send me an email. Hello, I'm Greg. Send me an email and I'll send you Perla's email. I believe I have it. And Perla, send Greg an email if you can. Or you can send it to me, douglasblog@gmail.com. And then I'll pass it on to Greg. By the way, every time I come on, I want to share this beautiful thing Julie Hayes sent me. Douglas, you're an inspiration to me. Thank you for sharing your knowledge and experience and knowledge. And this is the Phoenix bird, From the Ashes I Ride. Isn't that a beautiful symbol? If anybody sends me the email address, I will go ahead and send you a PDF of that picture. Thank you, Julie Hayes from Michigan. I know you're not here today, but I'm thinking of you and thinking about your recovery and sending you really good thoughts. Paul, yeah, I meditate as well, Dave. I'm thinking of you, and we only met 2 minutes ago. So Paul, Dave, exchange email addresses. Go ahead, exchange phone numbers, text. Okay, so the whole reason that healing from support groups, depression support groups work in Portland, Oregon. April, can you go ahead and just go ahead and affirm this, is that people come together in community, connect with each other, give and receive support, and replace the symptoms of depression and anxiety with those of wellness and joy. It's all about community. So here we have a community of 28 people watching. Let's have some of you guys connect. So when I'm not here, I'm only here 2 hours of the 168 hours every week. When I'm not around, you can still email, text, call each other, and give each other support. That's what it's about, horizontal mutual support. Because even if you see a shrink, you see him 15 minutes at a time, once a month. What good does that do you? I mean, medications can help, but it's not enough. It takes more than a pill to heal from depression. Dave Piquel says, Paul, I can feel it. This is a huge, hard day. But you remember, what goes down must come up. Oh, how's little Bruce doing, His Grace's love? Love your videos, him. Well, I'm going to do if I can get Joe, my partner, to sit down and with me, we're going to do a Bruce update. He's going to the vet for his last time today, and maybe they'll let him go outside and take that patch off his abscess that's healing in his hindquarters. He's doing much better. He's got his energy back. Thank you for asking. Paul Shanger at hotmail.com. Anybody feel free to email you. Yes, Paul, I will go ahead and send you the PDF of In Still I Rise, the Phoenix Bird. That'll give you some inspiration. April Wagner says, yes, talking with others that are going through the same thing, it helps and supports tremendously. Thank you, April. So connect with people from this live chat, connect with people in your community. If you want to find out about support groups in your area, let me see if I can do this. Go to www.nami.org. Check that out. Go to that website. You'll learn about NAMI chapters, National Alliance of Mental Illness in your area. Find support groups. Connect, network, connect, network. We have to heal in community. Maybe, what are your thoughts on depression and creativity? I lost all my creativity. I lost all of my creativity and intellectual thinking. I feel as if I'll never be able to write again with my obsessive thinking. Mavi, that's an excellent question. In June of 1997, I went to one of my mentors, Michael Moran, minister, said, I'm done. I'll never write another book again. And I've written 5 or 6, that's great, but I'm washed up. I'm too depressed, my creativity is gone. And he said, on the contrary, Doug, he said, the reason you're going through this depression is because one day you're going to get better and write about it. I said, no, you're the one who's nuts, not me. That will never happen. And sure enough, 4 months later, I came out of the depression. And Mavi, I wrote this book, When Going Through Hell Don't Stop. I've written 3 more since then. So yes, when you're depressed, Mavi, you can't create the faucet is turned off. You're dry. You're dried up. But when you get better, the fountain comes back through you again. All that creative flow comes back twofold. So hang in there. It will come back. I promise you. It's happened to me multiple times. So treat the depression, treat the obsessions. When they go away, your creativity and your intellectual ability will return. You can bank on it. Does that help, Mavi? I hope it does. It's absolutely true. I'm not just saying this because I want you to feel better. I'm saying it because it's the truth. Scott Power, I've been busy Christmas and New Year's, spaced most of it 1 to 4 months of this day now, so I guess I only have 2 months left. 2 months of what left? 1 year and 4 months of this state now. Oh yeah, 18 months. Well, yeah, 18 months is sort of the normal recovery from depression time. It can take more, it can take less. Don't try to get ahead of yourself, Scott. Live from day to day and know that one day this will lift, and don't try to predict when. Because what if 18 months goes by and you're still depressed? Then you'll feel horrible. You lose hope. You'll be discouraged. Don't do that. Think about just getting through the day. That's all you have to think about. Great. Thank you, Doug. Twisted Sister says, very powerful. I don't know what you're referring to. Maybe my talk about how creativity returns. Hey, in the immortal words of Richard Farinia, I've been down so long it looks like up to me. Human beings are resilient. I want you to check out my my video. I'm going to type it right in here. After you guys get off the live chat, I want you to go to my video, go to my channel. Hopefully all of you subscribe. And I want you to type in this title, and then I want you to watch this video. It's called You Are, well, R-M-O, more, R-E-S-I-L. I don't know how you spell resilient. Darn it, I know how to spell it. R-E-S-Z-I-E-N-T, than you think. Okay, I want you to look at that video, all of you. You'll see, I don't care how far down you are. I don't care how hopeless you feel. I don't care how much you've left. Look at the book of Job. He lost everything. And it says at the end that he was restored to greater prosperity than before the calamities hit him. Loss of family, loss of children, health problems, boils, you name it, he got it. So watch that video. It's called You're More Resilient Than You Think. Well, I have this thing about, it's called the Crosby Book of Riddles. Let me see if I can find something interesting here. What happened to Ray when he was eaten by a Martian? He became X-ray. Oh God, that is terrible. Why did I even look at that? I'll have to go ahead and... when is a medicine first mentioned in the Bible? When God gave Moses 2 tablets. I'll have to find better ones than that. Does anyone have a joke? I can really, we could use a good one. Do you like the Joel Osteen joke about the woman praying and the auto thief showed up and she said to God, thank you for bringing me a professional? I thought that was good. All right, we are 40 minutes past the hour. We have 20 more minutes left. How are you doing, Paul? Paul Scheniger, are you feeling more uplifted by the people or more encouraged? You can get better if you want to. Setting the intention to heal, decision to get better is 90% of the game. So let me know if you are wanting to, if you're wanting more encouragement, because I know you can heal once you decide you want to heal. You don't even have to know how you're going to heal. Just make the decision to heal. Dave says, yes, Buddhism helps me with trying to stay in the present, but as humans with intellects, it's not hard to wonder what it's all about and not worry about tomorrow, eternity. Well, yes, we will never answer the big question about what's it all about. We can come up with our answers, and but it's a mystery. That's what Einstein said. Who are we? Where do we come from? Where are we going? Is there life after death? How can people possibly answer those questions with our limited rational minds? But I'll say one thing. In 50 years of searching, I have found that the purpose of life is to grow in love and wisdom. If you can become more loving and more wise, that's what we're about on Earth, in my opinion. That's why we're here. Red Power 24, I haven't heard from you before. I have one question for you. What do you do if you're severely depressed, you have no one around and can't connect with anyone, not even yourself? Jesus. Well, have you ever thought of going to the hospital? Are you able to function? Are you working? Red Power 24, do you interact with anybody, or are you just alone in your house all the time? Give me a little bit of information about your situation. I can advise you, but you've got to reach out. I would say find a counselor, therapist. Find someone to connect with once a week and talk about what you're going through. You've got to do that. It's absolutely critical. And we had a gal who just came to my Monday support group, was living basically in isolation for months, and then she suddenly met 9 other people who cared about her. She's going out to lunch with one of them today. It's within 48 hours her life has changed. So Paul Schenecker says, yeah, thanks so much. I was in bed, now I'm making something. What are you making? You're making something healthy, I think is what it says, for yourself. You mean healthy food. Well, good. You're out of bed. You're doing something good. When I was going through my depressive episode, I talk about in my book, Healing from Depression, I met a woman who was from Harvard, graduated from Harvard, got a professorship. I always wanted to become a professor. I felt so bad about myself. And my therapist said, hey, getting out of bed is more difficult for you than for some people going to Harvard. So give yourself credit. Your job is to recover. And that's exactly what I say to everybody watching. If you're just going to get out of bed and you make yourself a cup of coffee or a good breakfast, that is victory. Red Power, I feel the same, but connecting here is a start. Yeah, well, Dave, you're very connected to me. You comment on my videos, you send me emails, we're connected. Video by Zara, haven't heard from you before, all these new people, that's cool. By the way, I'd love someone to click on the live chat button and donate $1 or $2 before we do this. This is like 2 hours of my time every week. I'm essentially donating because I feel so passionately about helping people with mental illness, including myself. But man, I had to give up a bike ride today to do this, and you know how much I love biking. So, I'm not asking you to feel sorry for me, but it'd be nice if we had some sort of monetary support here. Okay, I'm taking Seroxate, which I don't know. It's an SSRI for depression and anxiety. Maybe you mean I have OCD, suicidal thoughts, fear things without medicine. I'm 20 years. I've heard. What have you heard at the age of 27? I'm not quite sure. My computer is sort of. I've heard that they also cause abnormalities during pregnancy. Well, maybe. I have a friend who was on Zoloft who started pregnancy and just reduced it, but it's hard to know. But right now, you're probably on Serotonin, you're probably on Zoloft is what you are. So is it helping you? Is the medication helping you? Are you pregnant? Don't get too far ahead of yourself, because if you're pregnant and you're depressed, the baby will pick up all those depression chemicals from your blood to its blood, and it will be almost, it'll have its own problems. My mother was very depressed and anxious when I was in her womb, and guess what? I came out of the womb anxious and depressed. Yeah, don't you think? So if you're thinking of having a child, the best thing you can do for that child is treat your own depression. So Scott Barrow says, I figured I'd update. I've taken Prozac for 2 months for depersonalization. Hasn't made a dent at 10 milligrams. Oh, well, you're not taking enough. You're not even taking near a therapeutic amount, Scott Barrow. Go up to 20 or 30 if you don't have any side effects. Getting through the day, good reminder. Of course, getting through the day is what it's about when you're severely depressed. Hey, Oscar Gonzalez. Hi, what's the remission of depression? I've had depression, anxiety, 1.5 years, and bad day. I fear the worst. Well, the people in my support groups have almost 100% remission. So I'm not saying fly to Portland and join my groups, but I with the right type of support, remission is definitely possible. What are you doing? Send me an email, Oscar. Yeah, 1.5 years. Well, that's what I had it. You fear the worst. Well, don't fear the worst. Go to my video. You're more resilient than you think. And I can't find my email cord. God. Oscar Gonzalez, email me. Tell me a little bit more about what you're going through. I will essentially answer your question. Beauty by Zara says, I'm really scared. Things impact me so much. I left taking Seroxate. I think that's serotonin. I think that's Prozac, and was drug-free for 10 months. And then the panic attacks came back after seeing a suicidal video. That just sucked. T-Mac, nice to see you too. Dave says, I intend to heal. Well, Beauty by Zara, if you're taking your medication and you think it's helping you, maybe the good idea is to stay on it for a while, because you've just shown that depression can come back at, a drop of a hat. You saw a suicidal video that really affected you negatively, and now you're back in depression. I'm really sorry to hear that. So you're back on the, I think it's Zoloft, serotolene. I'm not quite sure how you pronounce it, but I think that's what you're taking. But remember, what goes down must come up. Your nervous system can be restored, Beauty by Zara. I'm sorry you had that relapse, but if you start to get better again and you're on medication, talk to your doctor. You may want to stay on it. Oh wait, it was 20 milligrams, but that's all my doctor prescribed, so I can't go up before I get we'll get a review and ask him to go up to 30. People take 40 milligrams. Again, medication is not the answer per se, but if you can do other things with it, it will help. But again, some people get benefit out of it. I'm not quite sure if it's 100% placebo. I know it's a lot of placebo, but I have a man, Dr. Kuttner in Portland, I really respect, and he thinks it's more than placebo. But I'll write him. That's a good question. Paroxetine. I think that's Paxil, by the way, Beauty by Zara. I'm pretty sure that's Paxil you're taking, which is an SSRI antidepressant that's good for depression and anxiety. So you went off it, you got depressed again, and now you're trying to get better. Well, get back on it. Work a day at a time. Get Healing from Depression, or sign up for one of my newsletters on my website, healingfromdepression.com, and you will slowly climb your way back. Bruce! Oh, no, wait, Bruce, hold on. Look, everybody. I found Bruce. Here he is. He's doing much better. Isn't he cute? Here, I'm going to hold him like this. There he is. Bruce Block, the Persian cat who's getting better. I should have stood up, but I don't think I would have fallen down because I'm in a chair that has wheels. Yeah, email me, Oscar. He is so cute. Yes, well, go to my video called How Bruce the Cat Helps Me Heal from Depression. It came out 2 weeks ago. You'll get a lot more information about him. So adorable. Yeah, well, April Wagner comes to my house every week. She absolutely adores Bruce. She's Bruce's probably biggest fan, except for Pam in the Monday group. All right, so Beauty by Zara, did that help? Scott Bauer, when you go back to your doctor, ask him to raise the Prozac. That noise my wife is making her greens drink. 49 minutes after the hour, 11 minutes left. Getting through the day, walking around the block. I think someone said earlier they couldn't even get out of bed, they couldn't exercise. Just get up and walk around the block. The body was made to move. I know it's horrible. Depression is so disabling. It's a cruel disease. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. It's a phrase. It's true. I wouldn't. Bruce is not cold. Oh no, IY. Hey, nice to see you, IY. No. He sits by the fireplace. We have it cranked up, 20,000 BTUs. No, he's warm. He's getting his fur back too. He hasn't gone out because the doctor won't let him go out until his abscess heals. Thank you much for this live video, says Beauty by Zara. I feel I cannot live without drugs. Hope I can live without them after the depression comes back. I'm scared to leave medicines. Your cat is so cute. So look, Beauty by Zara, I have a good friend. I'm 68. We met when we were 8. That's 60 years, 6 decades, more than most of you have been alive, I'm sure. So we went to Guatemala together in 2006. He started to have all sorts of weird symptoms. He was peeing all the time. He was exhausted. He was irritable. Turned out when he got back to the States, he had type 1 diabetes, almost died. So what happens in type 1 diabetes? The pancreas stops functioning, right? So before insulin was discovered and isolated, people died. It was incurable. But now he's living at the right time of history. So every day when we go out to eat or when we're walking, I see him, shooting up with insulin, and now he's healthy, and so he can't live without insulin. All right, so that's the luck of the draw. He accepts it. So if you can't live without medication, Beauty by Zahar, don't be ashamed. Don't be ashamed about depending on medication. If it helps, then you take it. We're a pragmatist here. The old saying, my karma ran over my dogma. So Some people need to be on medications. Some people need to be on anti-cholesterol medications. They can't control their cholesterol anywhere else. Medicines do have a place. But, Beauty by Zahra, don't just depend on the Zoloft or the Paxil by itself. Do all the other things I recommend in these videos. By the way, if you send me an email, I will send you a diagram of my entire depression recovery program. I love Bruce. Yes, yes, His Grace is love. Do you want me to make another video about him? I will. I will definitely set up, and can I contact you personally by email? Of course. I'm completely available. Here it is. DouglasBlock@gmail.com. Send me an email. I'll get right back to you. And I think I'll put one more time, I know, I'll put my Patreon page. We have 42 subscribers. I'm trying to get to 50 by my birthday on February 22nd, about 5 weeks from now. That's, what is that? 1.6 people a week. So essentially 2 people a week becoming members of Patreon would make me have a very happy 69th birthday. So, all right, www.patreon.com/DOUG. Here we go. There's my Patreon site. Is healing from depression on Audible? No, no one has made no one has actually done a Reddit. It should be, especially when going through Hell Don't Stop, should be Audible. Absolutely. And that's what's wrong with taking medication. Lots of people seem to be afraid and suspicious farmers. I think we have a lot to be thankful for. 60 years ago, there were no antibiotics then. Yes, well, and the F, you make a very good point. What was the #1 killer of human beings at the turn of the 20th century? Infectious diseases. I had something called cellulitis, an infection of the soft tissue, went up my leg right to my heart. If I hadn't been hospitalized and got medications, I wouldn't be here helping you guys out or helping anybody out. Antibiotics saved my life. Infectious diseases, at least in the Western world, don't kill people anymore. Of course, now we have lifestyle diseases like heart disease, right? But that's a whole other story. But yes, penicillin was called a miracle drug, and it still is. Thank you, NF, for saying that. Appreciate your feedback. You have no idea how much positive impacts your words are making. Thanks once again for this live chat. Well, Beauty by Zahra. Well, tell me and to thank me for what I'm doing. Would you tell me where you're living? I love your name. I'm assuming it's somewhere in the Middle East, but who knows? I always love to know where people are listening from. Of course, N to N. N to F is from Ireland, the great country of Ireland. That gave us James Joyce and Dylan Thomas and Frank McCord. And have you read any of his books? He's an amazing writer. Hot flashes and sweats. This is awful. Well, what do you think that's coming from, Dave? I've never heard of people with depression having hot flashes. You're from Pakistan. Well, I said the Middle East. Are you actually in Pakistan right now? Wow, that's amazing. What's mental health? I bet there's not too many mental health resources in Pakistan. I don't know. Maybe that's just, I'm wrong in that supposition. Maybe that's my prejudice. But in Asia, at least in Japan, no Japanese people here at the moment, but they believe, you should be able to suck it up and, heal by yourself. There's a culture there that dissuades people from, discourages people from seeking help. That's nonsense. Hey guys, asking for help is not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength. M. Scott Peck, the psychotherapist, said, going into therapy is a sign of courage. The people who go seek therapy are more courageous than the people who don't. Remember that. You're not weak for seeking help, you're strong. Just tell yourself over and over again. Chris Higgins, I'm from Man 5. Well, I'm not quite sure what that means, but Paul, you're from Ireland. Hey, why don't you hook up with N to F? Why don't you guys exchange emails or phone numbers? I get a lot of good feedback from people in Ireland. So yeah, you guys should. If you're in Dublin, both of you, you could actually meet and start your own support group. Does depression and anxiety just happen at any age? I started at 34. Now it's a year and a half is really bad. Well, yes. A lot of the people I work with in my depression support groups started to get depressed in high school. My mother had her first depressive episode at age 79. It can strike at any time during your life. So when I was 34, I was in the psych ward for a month, Oscar. So yes, you are going through a bad depression, but guess what? Oh, now I started at 34, now I'm 40. Okay, so yeah, well, that happens all the time. You know, things get worse and things get better. You know, I was in a psych ward when I was 46. But what are you doing, Oscar, to treat it? Send me an email. Tell me what you're doing. I'll send you some suggestions. You can get through this. And F, Ulysses. Moment, I'm really reading Edgar Allan and Leonard Cohen. Great American writers, of course. Well, Leonard Cohen comes from Canada. Let's not diss Canada. Huh? And he's a Canadian songwriter, but I know what you mean. Good idea. And then my email is paulshanager@hotmail1@hotmail.com. And then you see that? paulshanager1@hotmail.com. Send the guy an email. Hook up. If you're in Dublin, meet, have coffee, invite other people to meet. Start a movement. Start, you know, creating community, the two of you. There's a lot of, I really want to go to Ireland. I bet it's a lot like Oregon. I've lived in Scotland, in Forres by the North Sea. I love Scotland. And I've also lived in Great Britain. The only part of the UK I haven't lived in is Ireland. So why don't you send me an all-expense paid ticket and I'll come visit. Beauty by Zara. I live in Pakistan. Soon I'll move to Melbourne. Wow, with my husband. And yes, here we don't have much awareness about mental health and not much counseling. That's why I seek help here on YouTube. Wasn't that wonderful? One of the good things about the internet, there's a lot of bad things about the internet. One of the good things about the internet, there are so many people out there giving help for depression, anxiety, mental health. Oh my God, dozens and dozens. Myself and Big No No are just two of the, I don't know, probably hundreds of people who have really good content on YouTube. So what a blessing. Once you get to Australia, you know, you'll get on state insurance. Hopefully you'll get some help there. If anyone wants to follow up after this chat, join the support group, email hello, I'm Greg at gmail.com or douglasblock@gmail.com. Absolutely, Greg. Either one of us. Greg's a mensch. You know what that means in Yiddish? You're a person. 58 minutes exactly. 2 minutes to go. 24 people watching. Throw in your final questions. By the way, when we finish this video, this live chat, there will still be about 10 minutes left where you guys can communicate with each other on the live chat screen. We know if somebody made a live chat donation in the last minute and 48 seconds. Hello, Greg. I'm a man. I said you're a mensch. Didn't I say you're a mensch? A mensch means a good person. Anyway, so I'm not quite sure what that meant, but there's a heart, so it must have been kind of positive. Yeah, Greg's a good guy, for sure. I'm the man. All right, okay. Hey, Greg, that's some good positive affirmations. That's what we all need who are depressed. You know, some you know. Remember Muhammad Ali? I am the greatest. Tell yourself that every morning, that I am the greatest. You know, he said that and he beat Sonny Liston in 1964. Anyway, I want to conclude this video by giving my tribute to Martin Luther King Jr., one of the great figures in American history. I knew people who went into the civil rights movement, who went down to the South, who helped free America of apartheid, which is what we really had. It was a horrible time in the 50s for that, and all of you should be very glad. We certainly don't live in a post-racist society. There's still plenty of racism, but compared to the way it was, it's a lot better, and Martin Luther King Jr. had a lot to do with it, so let's send him a blessing wherever he is. Are you an INFJ? I am, actually. How do you know that? That's Myers-Briggs, introverted, intuition, feeling, and judging. Yes, I am an IFJ. You're absolutely hit the nail on the head. His Grace's love. Will you please tell me how you knew that? I'll send you a chocolate bar. Dave Pickle, I would like an email support group or phone text. I get deadly loneliness. Well, Dave Pickle, why don't you email Greg? He gave you his email address. Hello, I'm Greg, G-R-E-G-G @gmail.com. Send him an email and you'll join his list. There's something to put in the gratitude journal to be grateful for on the internet. Yes. Does everybody keep a gratitude journal, by the way? If you write 3 things down at the end of the day that went well, you're grateful for, within 21 days, you'll notice a shift in mood. I challenge any of you to do that. 21 days, write 3 things you're grateful for, or it's something that went well during the day. You'll find a shift in mood in 21 days. I don't care how depressed you are. For most of you, there's a roof over your head. There's food in the cupboard, gas in the car. The sun is shining, at least sometimes in Portland, Oregon. Past the breakers, you came. -1 minute left. Michael is your name, of course. Thank you for those jokes. I told the squirrel joke earlier. I'll say it one more time, and then I'm going to conclude this. So the squirrel comes to the psychiatrist's office, lies on the couch. Doctor says, "Why are you here?" The squirrel says, "Have you heard of the phrase, you are what you eat?" The doctor says, "Yes." The squirrel says, "If that's the case, I think I'm nuts." Thank you, Pastor Breakers, for sending that to me. A lot of laughs in my depression support groups. Beauty by Zara has one more question before I hop on my bike. Did you also experience a racing heart with depression? Mine beats really fast. I have digestive problems, although I take medication for that as well. No, I didn't experience that. What you've got is you've got a little bit of a panic disorder syndrome and hyper anxious. Email me. I'll give you this handout about putting your head in cold water, holding your breath to calm down your anxiety. So you have both depression and some sort of anxiety disorder. I would suggest going to a psychologist who specializes in anxiety, and that would be a good thing for you to do, or a psychiatrist. And there's Dave Pikelholm, great. Commer 1267-721-9925. Thank you, Greg, for giving that information. I hope you guys have a great rest of the day. I wish you the best in your mental health recovery until we see you again this coming Monday, the 21st of January at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time here in the beautiful city of Portland, Oregon. And again, as I say at the end of all of my videos, I wish you the best in your mental health recovery. See you in 4 days.